What's going on, everybody? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy RC. We're here with the RC9 interviews live here on Instagram, and it's gonna be broadcasted also on YouTube. So listen, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend to come on, and it's no other place to be than with the RCNI, baby. We have a special guest tonight, Chanel Phil. She's gonna be joining us, the owner of Compassion Moss, and she's also an author, and she's also a survivor. We're going to get her in. We're going to get it in now. We're going to wait for her to come up in the room, and we're going to get right to it. So, ladies and gentlemen, just buckle up, grab your seats, grab your helmets, because it's going to be a really good ride tonight with Chanel Phil's. Listen, this woman does it all. She's like a Jane of all trades, and we're going to get into, how she do what she do so well. So here she is in the room right now. We're going to welcome her right in the room. So let's bring it in. Like I said, y'all know the routine. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend to come on in. Let's get it. Here we go. Welcome to everybody who's joining us. Here we go. All right, all right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen.
How are you?
Welcome. The one and only Chanel Fields in the building.
Hey.
How you feeling?
How's it going? A lot better. Doing a lot better.
Doing a lot better. You know what?
Yeah.
Let me officially welcome you. Welcome to the RC9 interviews.
Oh, thank you. Hey.
I'm glad to have you here.
I'm glad to be here.
Listen, I don't know. I was getting on today. I was getting ready to do this interview. I'm kind of nervous. Why I'm nervous? I said, what's this about, Lord? I do all these interviews all the time. And all of a sudden, I'm nervous when I'm coming on here and interview you. I don't know where that came from, but that just
it be like that sometimes. It's like that.
Yeah, let me know it's gonna be a great interview. So those gonna check in, thank y'all for checking in. Y'all know the routine. Tell a friend to tell another friend to tell another friend to come on in. You know the airplane at the bottom. Share it with your people in your friends list. Let them know what's going on here. We have the one and only Chanel Phil. She's an author. She's an entrepreneur. She is a survivor, and many more hats. She's a mother. Listen, we're going to get it in. So there's a lot of things we're going to talk about today. We're going to introduce the people to you. So I want you to introduce yourself first. Just let them know your name, where you from, and we're going to go from there.
So my name is Chanel Fields. I am a New Jersey native originally, from New Jersey. I'm here now. I'm a Pennsylvanianite. From Pennsylvania. I done got acclimated to Pennsylvania for like the last 6 years though.
Wow.
But I am a New Jersey born and raised resident.
Born and raised from the Garden State. Turned up for the Garden State.
Yes.
I know that's right. So how is it out there over there in the PA area, even though it's like right across the way? How you feeling out there? You say you've been here for 6 years?
Well, PA is a big state. PA
it really
is a big state.
Though. It really is.
At one point, I even resided up by Pittsburgh. And that drive from Pittsburgh to Jersey was like 9.5 hours. So Pennsylvania is a huge state. But now, I'm a resident of Scranton, where they did The Office, they filmed The Office. Mm-hmm. So here it's a lot. It's an easier commute to New Jersey. It's only about like 2.5 hours, depending on the traffic and construction. It's about 2.5 hours. So it's not bad. But our weather is completely different at times. You guys will see less snow, and then we'll see more snow, so it just depends. Wow. Hey, cousin. I see my cousin Tellamore. Shout out to Tellamore and Raina Phoenix. I see my people's in the building.
All right. Support. Got the family in here rocking with us today.
Yes.
Listen, so we're going to get right into it, it's almost like, wow, where do I start? Because you wear so many hats. You have done so many things for the community, from Jersey to PA to every other state that you go to, especially, with what's booming now, what you have going on with your business, Compassion Moss.
Yes, you are a huge fan.
listen. Well, hold on. Man, I forgot my doggone thing. But I got, look, I got my label here to Compassion Moss. Listen, I just had some earlier. I had my ginger shot. I done had my sea moss. I put it in my cream of wheat.
Okay.
I'm good to go over here. I'm good to
I
go.
know that's right.
So listen, I mean, like I said, it's almost hard to find a starting point for you because you wear so many hats. And the things you've done. I mean, like I said, you're an author.
Mm-hmm.
You're a cancer survivor, correct?
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
you've been heavy in the media game for a while. You know,
Yeah.
interviewing some of the top people in this world, presidents and the like you. You've been doing a doggone thing. It's like you're a silent assassin. People know you.
Right.
You know, you move the way you move, and you just make stuff happen. One thing I know about you, you know, just having conversation with you, you're a very compassionate individual. So it makes sense why your company's called Compassion Mars. That's
Thank
just
you.
the essence of you. So let's get into who you are. So you say you're from New Jersey. What part of Jersey you from?
I was born in Saddlebrook, but you know, I was a resident of Patterson a long time. Patterson is very near and dear to my heart. So shout out to Patterson,
Right.
New Jersey. I still rock with Patterson forever, ever, and ever. So, you know, a lot of my years were spent in Patterson, but I did migrate back to Saddlebrook, you know, that's home too. So, you know, but yeah. So that's pretty much and then for a while I was in Teaneck. Shout out to Teaneck. You know,
All
I know
right.
people from all over, you
All
know.
right.
But
North
yeah.
Jersey now.
Yes, definitely.
North Jersey now. So whatever, you know, going. So you said the rest. You said Teaneck. You said Saddlebrook. You said Patterson.
Hmm.
So let's talk about who Chanel feels as a person. Like, what did you grow up like doing? Did you have any activities? What was you involved in? What made like
Oh my
what lit
God.
your fire as a kid?
Like truthfully,
Uh huh.
what lit my fire as a kid was church.
Okay.
like
Come on
like
now.
I loved, like truthfully, I loved church. You had to grow up in my church to understand. Shout out to Gilmore Memorial Tabernacle Church, 68 Heldon Avenue, Patterson, New Jersey. You had to have grown up there to understand the energy of everything and how it all began. It wasn't, Gilmore was not a normal church. Anybody that knows anything about Gilmore, my godmother was the late great Reverend Dr. Eileen Gilmore. And to grow up beside her legacy, and even watch my mom grow into becoming a pastor later as well, um it was amazing. It was electric. Gilmore was electric, you know. Typical Sunday morning, you would walk in and you hear the musicians queuing it up. They was
Oh, it
already
was
amped, they
ready.
were already ready. And at our time, back in the early 80s, our church actually had their own Look and Live radio ministry. So
Okay.
that you didn't hear of churches having radio ministries. They had their own radio ministry.
Nice.
We were very advanced. My godmother had her own school, her own ice cream parlor, everything. You know, that the church even made an album. The choir even had an album. So they were very, very in a very advanced church with like really, really driven strategic musicians that really brought it. But the church brought it. It was like the church was
Right.
fire. It was a community. It was an island of its own. And you know, and I lived there practically. That's where I grew up. You want to know, like, I lived there. From Sunday was, you know, regular church. Monday was choir rehearsal for the Tabernacle Choir. Tuesday was YPWW and Bible study. Wednesday, you know, we were in the upper room praying. Thursday was pastoral
Wow. So
night.
you lived in that
Yeah,
church.
I lived at church.
Were you a
I
part of?
lived at church.
What did you do in church? Like what office did you hold in the offices? Like were you involved in Sunday school teacher? Or you a youth choir or things of that
No,
nature?
not that didn't come till like much later. In Gilmore, all I did was sing. Like
Okay.
I just sang on a choir, and that was pretty much it. And like when I was little, I had a couple of lead songs, but when I got older, you know, I melted into the background with everybody else. Our harmony was so beautiful. You just wanted to be a part of
Did,
the
did,
background. I'm telling you, it
did you
was
make the
amazing.
album? Did you make the album?
No, I was younger. I was young. The album came long before me. I
Oh,
think I think even before I was, I may have been born then. But that was a Tabernacle Choir that did
oh,
that.
okay.
We didn't the Eileen Gilmore Inspirational Choir didn't come along until my teenage years, and we
Gotcha.
didn't do that. But the Tabernacle Choir did that. You know, I think we may have sung some of the songs from that album as a mass choir, but no, I didn't make the album, bro.
You said, I ain't the album. I'm about to say, you said you be singing, you be sing, quiet, sing.
Yeah, yeah. It
So
was
that
it
was
was good, but that was like me, growing up. Outside of that, anybody that knows me will tell you like I am a skating warrior. Like I wanted to be
like
the
roller
first
skating.
black roller skate, ice skate, you name it. I don't like roller blading, but I like ice skating. But I wanted to become the first black ice skater. And my
Really?
dad said, dream bigger, baby. There ain't no such thing. But yes, oh my God, love to this day. I had to challenge my 27-year-old on the skate floor.
Where did that passion come from? Did you see it on TV one day? You was like, you know what, I want to do this. Or just something you
No,
picked
my
up.
Uncle Jerry. Shout out to Uncle Jerry if he up here. My Uncle Jerry is the skate king. Like people know this man for his skating tactics. He is the skate Like he is the skating king. He's the skating
Wow.
champ. And he's retired from it. He doesn't skate anymore. But anybody that knew Jerry knew, my uncle taught us how to skate at United Skates of America. This was in
Okay.
the West
I
Belt
was getting ready to
Mall.
ask you,
And
what would you like to skate at?
yeah, that was my first time getting on the skating ring floor. And him and my Aunt Gwen, they taught us how to skate. And I never forget, even though I didn't really know how yet, there was a freedom. There was a liberty
Right.
about rolling around that floor and just kind of feeling the air just
Wow.
breezing by you. You just
Well, you
felt
know what?
good.
You know what? You're going to have to teach me how to skate because I, I don't skate, but I tried to put on something like, a couple of years ago and I just winged it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
I got my
Okay.
bandy on real quick. I said, I'm going to get out here and
Okay.
hold onto this ledge until I figure this thing out because I'm feeling like a fool.
Okay.
I had,
Yeah, but I found liberty in skating. And
wow.
my last freedom came in writing. That was
Mhm.
it. My last passion came in writing. So if it
Really?
wasn't church, it was skating. If it wasn't skating, it was writing.
So it was back then. So it
Hmm.
wasn't church, it was skating. If it wasn't skating, it was writing. So,
Hmm.
and you said the church was in Patterson, right?
Hmm.
Patterson. So you went to school in Patterson as well?
I went to school all over.
Okay, I understand
I went
that.
to school all over.
I was like that too.
I went to school all over, but I did spend some years of school in Patterson. Like, I went to St. Paul's. I got expelled.
Oh, you was a bad girl. Huh? Listen, it's all
No,
them
no,
church girls, right?
no. And shout out to School 12. I went to School 12. I went to School 20
Uh-huh.
and public school. I graduated from Rosa Parks High School in Patterson, performing arts. Um,
Oh,
I'm
you
trying to
went
think
to
of where else.
performing arts. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
was amongst the gifted and talented.
Yeah, Rosa Parks was electric. They had that Gilmore vibe, like
Wow.
but it just wasn't church, but it was like so many of your favorite church friends were there, plus the rest of the city was there. But it was so much talent. Like there was no one in the building that didn't have an exquisite talent. Like
Really?
everybody was,
It's like
yeah.
being amongst
Shout
peers.
out. Shout out to class of 1990 all the way to 97. Like
Wow.
from what I witnessed, like Rosa Parks High School was nothing to mess with back then. Like they brought it. We had a outstanding principal. His name was Tony K. Wells, thebomb.com. And he strived to bring the excellence out in us. And to this day, like how my man said, Deontay, to this day, I think that that's what made us have that crazy work ethic to become
Okay.
great, because he would bring people like Rosa Parks in, Peg Leg Bates, Gregory Hines. He brought
Wow.
so many
Really?
people in to inspire us on a regular basis, to encourage us. Like he kept showing us greatness, and when you're around greatness, you have to become great. You can't sit around greatness and not become great.
Right.
So he was so smart and intricate. He kept bringing great people around us, and the more we saw greatness, we embodied that. We felt great. Like we really felt like we were some little superstars even back then, because the teachers knew how to give us the right kind of praise that didn't go to our
Right.
head but made us confident, in our craft. And we just followed our craft. We have so many talented people that came out of that school. It's not even funny.
So the So what was the curriculum like at this school? You know, with such amazing, talented, and gifted people.
The curriculum was dope. Like they, for us to have had phenomenal artistry, the curriculum was equally phenomenal. Like, it wasn't watered down. You still had to bring it academically. The thing that I liked about it the most was, even though you focused on your academics, they took your craft very serious too.
Okay.
Like you had to put equal time into your artistry as you did, with your academics.
Wow.
So the curriculum was good.
So what was your area? I know you said you like writing, but what was your area of focus in that school?
I actually graduated with a dual major.
Okay.
At Rosa Parks. When I first came there, I took up as a musician for drums and drama. And
drums and drama.
Yeah, I play the drums. And so and then I got out of that. You sing in choir, why don't you take the vocal? So, I was like, oh, but I sing at church. Like, I just want to keep playing my drums, so they're like, you a girl, you can't be playing, So, I punked down and I changed my major to vocal, and then I changed my major to creative writing, and I just kept them. I got slick. I got lucky because nobody caught on to the fact that I had creative writing and I had vocal. I was like, well, if they ain't gonna say nothing, I ain't gonna say nothing.
I mean, you say you got slick and nobody caught on, so you couldn't do both of those?
You're only supposed to have one major.
Oh, you're only supposed to have one major.
But if it didn't get caught, it didn't get caught.
Really?
Like, I ended up graduating with more credits than I needed. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, if you slid by, you slid by. But I mean, it worked out for me because I really wanted to do both, and they was not trying to let you do more than one major. I'm like, come on, man, I got multiple talent, So,
right.
But yeah, we got lucky, and I did vocal, and then I did the creative writing. I had Miss Anoha and Miss per year. Shout out to one of my favorite teachers. She got a birthday today.
Okay.
And
Virgo season.
Yeah,
she
brought it out. She brought the writing out. Her and Miss Renee Anoha, amazing, phenomenal teachers. And then I had Mr. Donaldson, for my vocal teacher. He was great. And then we had Mrs. Norma J. Williams. I don't know if she's still there, but yeah, they had some good teachers. I love Mr. Donaldson though. He was good.
So
he made you sing.
On writing.
Mm-hmm.
So touching on the writing aspect. So were you writing before you came to Rosa Parks? Were you writing beforehand? Were you doing a lot of journaling beforehand?
Yeah, right. My writing is crazy because it was like as a child, that was actually the inspiration behind this.
Okay.
Growing up, my mom was very, very busy. When she was very active in the community, a lot of people knew her too. And she was just one of those people that gave the community her all, but gave home a lot less, and she never really had time to talk to me. She would say, when I get some time, I will talk, but just write it down. Go write it down. Like, so she gave me like one of those little memo pads. Write it down. Whatever you have to say, write it down.
Right.
And
I started to.
No, the little ones, the little ones. The ones the police fill out. Yeah, the memo pad. Yeah. And so
okay, that's the composition one.
Yeah, so she gave me that, and she was like, if I get a chance, I'm gonna read it, and then we'll talk about it. I'm like, okay. So I believed her, and I wrote it down. I was like little. I think I was like 9 or 10, and I started writing things down. And I will ask her, did you read it? No. Whatever you need to talk to me about, write it down. So I'm like, she's not reading it. So I wrote a lot. I was like, maybe if I write more, she'll read it. And years went on like that, and she didn't read it. And I think, I'm real patient. I think like somewhere around the time I was like about 12 or 13, I kind of got fed up, with the fact that she wasn't reading it. She never got back to me. She really didn't know what my feelings were and what was on my mind. And, so I started writing some things down there, being a little fresh at the mouth. I wrote a couple of curse words down.
Really?
Just to see if, if she would read it. She didn't read it. She didn't read it. She did not read it. And I was just like, I was hurt.
How long
Thank God, because I probably would have got a beating.
How long did this go on before you find out, like, okay, she's really not reading it? Like, how much did you write? Years, months?
I wrote until I was like 25.
To your mom?
She never read it.
Wait a minute. So what age did the writing start?
Around 9.
So from 9 to 25, and
Hmm.
she never read anything.
Well, I left home at 17, but she
Uh-huh.
for 8 years, 8 years that I wrote, she never read it.
Wow. So you was
We
being
never we
groomed to
never
be a
talked.
writer
We never
regardless.
Yeah, we never talked about it, and she never read it. She never read anything.
Wow. So do you still have those writings? Does she have it,
I
or
do.
you do?
I do. Yeah, that's how this came about. This is 14 journals
Wow.
compressed. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Before we get into that, yeah, the journals. You have any siblings?
Oh my God. Yeah, I got a lot of siblings.
She said, "Look, they all said, oh my God, do I?"
Yeah, I got a lot of siblings.
So, were you raised up with your siblings? Are you all in the same household, or it's just like, you know?
Well, the ones that my mom had, yes. The ones that my dad had, I still don't even know all of them.
Okay. So, so basically, growing in a household with you, like, how was it? Being raised up. Uh, I guess you said your mom was always working. She was always busy. She was always on the grind. So it's like she had a strong work ethic herself. So it was like it's in your blood just because of genetics wise.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so was it like you was raising yourself, or I mean, you said your dad was in the picture as well?
Um, Not my biological father. I was actually adopted by my father when I was like, I believe, 6 months old.
Okay.
And I didn't learn that that wasn't my father until I was 17 years old.
Wow. So
So
wow, that's something else. Like, I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about that, but how did that affect you? Getting ready going to adulthood because you're 17 and 18 and you're an adult right now. Like, you just now finding out, like,
it
wait a minute,
broke
this ain't my real dad.
it broke my heart. It broke my heart because I was used to that one person. I was used to that guy. He was the love of my life. That's my daddy. That's my superhero. That's my king, my first king.
Right.
And I was his sweetie pie, and I'm still his sweetie pie. I'm still his baby girl. I'm still the only girl. He never treated me like I was not his daughter.
Wow.
Like he always showed me, and still to this day, the ultimate love. I could wince a certain way, like daddy, like, oh no, 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 like he's already gonna jump on it and handle it. Like I'm such a daddy's girl, like so. And he was excellent. He's been excellent, with me, and I brag on him all the time, and I was hurt because in my mind, I couldn't have had a better daddy, like
Wow.
ever. Like nobody could replace my daddy. I knew he was real, real dark and I was real, real light, but you could not tell me that that was not my dad. Like that's like my everything. That's the
Wow.
homie right there, And so to find out he actually, showed me the papers where, he was not my dad, and
So
my
wait
whole
a minute.
world
It
crushed.
happened one day. He just rolled out the papers like, here, like, I need to show you something.
I had it's kind of interesting how it happened. I had my son when I was 17 out of wedlock, and you know my mom felt like it was best to hide that from him because you were like ashamed, like you were trash if you had a baby out of wedlock. And so as a result of like keeping that from him, it was like once I had delivered my son, I called him from the hospital because I felt like he needed to know. And I told him, that I just had a baby. And so on my birthday, I wanted to go to Great Adventures. And so we went to Great Adventures on my birthday. And he sat me down on the bench right outside of Great Adventures where they have like the Looney Tunes thing, and broke out all the paperwork because him and my mom were in the middle of a divorce. And he did not want to leave the divorce without me finally knowing the truth. So
Wow.
on my birthday, I got crushed, and I thought maybe it was because I had this child out of wedlock that, he was like renouncing me as his child. But that wasn't the case. He just wanted me to know the truth. Like, I'm not your father, but I'm your father. Like I'll always be your daddy, but you need to know who your real dad is. And I was devastated. I was already dealing with being a new mommy. and like fresh new mommy, you know, and finding out, you know, that was like devastating. It was like, well, then who's my dad?
Right.
You know, so it was a hard pill to swallow for a few years, you
Wow.
know.
So did you ever find out who your real dad was?
Yeah, I went on a wild goose chase. My dad, he actually called me, and you know, the funny thing about it was he was around. He was around when I was little, and my mother actually told me that that was my godfather, and and I would address him as my godfather,
Right.
you know, and I was like, oh my God, Mr. C, Mr. C, you know, and I just thought this guy was he was the greatest as well. Like, I was like, my godfather got me so spoiled, and, you know, I would go to
Wow.
his car dealership and I would chill out at his car dealership, and I just thought like the world of him too. It was the best of both worlds,
Wow,
you know, so
that's
when
a very unique story. Well, so,
yep.
well, I mean, I don't know. What was the reason for him being introduced as your godfather? Was he your father?
Well, he took off when I was 10. Like he, you know, he couldn't take it anymore. He couldn't take being introduced as my godfather anymore. I think he thought it was really disrespectful, and he made his way, you know, out of state. He moved away, and for many, many years I did not know where he was. I would always ask about him, and one day he called me like right after I had my son, and he wasn't the same nice guy. He was very judgmental. Like, you know, I heard you soiled yourself. You know, that's what they say when you
Right, right.
you know,
Yeah.
you know, messed up and you got pregnant out of wedlock, and it was so harsh and it was so judgmental, and I was looking for the same love that I had gotten from him down through the years as a young lady. And all I wanted to know on the conversation was like, are you my dad? Like, are you my dad? You know, I heard my dad show me these papers. Are you my dad? You know, and he like was evasive for like a really long time. He wanted to know if I was in high school, if I had graduated, you know, if I was going to college, and all my answers were yes. You know, I had a full ride to William Patterson College. So
Wow.
all my answers were yes. And when he found out like all my answers were yes, he was like, yeah, I'm your dad. You know, once I answered everything he wanted to know, it was like, I'm your dad. But he wasn't really trying to get to know me. You know, I didn't run back into him. We had plans to meet up when I was 26, and I drove all the way from Patterson, New Jersey to Florida just to meet him. And an hour before I got there, he chickened out.
So wait a minute.
So
Let me get this time. Let me backtrack a little bit. So at 10 o'clock, you said your real dad, he just like vanished pretty much. He got out of Dodge. So that was at
at
10 years
age
old.
10, yeah.
17
Mm-hmm.
years at 17, right? You went to Great Adventures.
17.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad, you know, one
Mm-hmm.
took on role as your dad. He revealed to you that he's really not your father. And
Mm-hmm.
so, um, how many years or what was the span of time before you got in contact with your real dad again?
Um, it was 9 years. I was 26 years old.
Oh, you were
And like I
26.
said, I was 26. Yeah, I was
Oh, when
supposed to
that
meet him in
first
Florida.
connection, that first phone call, you were 26.
Yeah, after the phone call from 17 about him being my dad,
Uh-huh.
we didn't speak again until I was 26.
Oh, so at 17 you actually spoke to him once it was revealed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you spoke to him
Mm-hmm.
at 17. Okay, got it. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And then, yeah, I didn't speak to him again until I was 26, and that's when he finally, you know, wanted to claim me.
Mm.
And, you know, as a result of that, I took the job. I was so excited, you know, that he was accepting me, and because he had a lot of other kids, and I wanted to meet my siblings. And so I took this 19-hour drive down to the bottom of Florida to meet him. And an hour before I got there, he chickened out. Like, I can't do it.
Wow.
And I had to drive all the way back home heartbroken. Like, I was just, but thank
By
God for my
yourself?
family. No, my brothers were with me, but thank God for his family. His family was ready to welcome me with open arms. Some of the best memories came out of that. Like, you know, what they say what the devil means for evil, God to turn it
Right.
around for good.
Absolutely.
Because I got to meet like so many of my aunts and uncles and cousins that I didn't even know existed, and they all were like ready to celebrate this occasion, and they still wanted to celebrate despite him leaving. Like, yo, we got you. Like, we a family, you know, don't worry about it, you know. And I was heartbroken, but they they managed to turn a sad situation. I didn't want to leave them, you know,
Wow.
when I left. And they always kept the door open for me. Like even now, it's like, when you coming back home, when you coming back down here. So it felt good to know that I had more family members, you know, to unite with and, you know, just fellowship with. It was a beautiful feeling.
So when you made that connection, even though things didn't turn out the way you had liked it to with your real father, you made connection with that side of the family and, you know, siblings and so on and so forth. Did you feel more complete? I don't know if you felt incomplete before, but did you feel like a part of you was, you know, was being filled because now you made the connection with your actual blood?
To be honest, I was heartbroken. I think my you know, meeting his side of the family was a temporary band-aid until I had to drive back to New Jersey. So because he was what I wanted, you know, he was who I wanted to see,
Right.
he was who I wanted to meet. And you know how you want something and somebody give you something else, you're like, I'll take that, but
Right.
that's not really what I wanted, you know.
So it was a door prize.
Right. A good door prize, a great door prize. My family gonna see like, oh, we door prizes, huh?
Oh,
no. Ryan said that. I love y'all.
She didn't say that. So no, but so you know, you went back heartbroken. So now that this happened, how did it affect you? You know, going into adult, now you have a child, right? So you becoming of age, like you a young lady at this point, and like now your eyes are open, your whole world is kind of like changed overnight in that moment. So how does that affect you going forward, just living life, being a mother?
Oh my gosh, it was terrible. It was terrible. It was like one of my down periods in my life. It was terrible because I think parents, you know, should really, especially parents that are or are not in their children's life, should really think about the detriment of what that does. For me, I suffered from rejection, you know, because I felt like he wouldn't accept me. And then I also suffered from abandonment because I felt like he claimed all the other kids and he just won't claim me. Like, what did I do to not deserve to be claimed? Like, what makes me unworthy of being claimed as your child?
So wait a minute.
You know?
So at that moment, when you found out your real dad, like, so all that, the doors to abandonment and rejection opened up to your life immediately.
Well, they were open. They were open ever since 17.
Right. That's what
to be honest, because I was going on a wild goose chase to try to find him.
Wow.
From that conversation, that one conversation where he had that was so judgmental about whether or not I was doing this and how he felt I soiled myself because I was a mother out of wedlock. The judgment that came from that was like, oh wow, he rejected me. Like, he don't even like me the way he liked me before. Like, to him before, I was like the kid that, you know, he took everywhere, you know, everything, gave lollipops to, money, you know, whatever, just had played checkers. He told me how to play checkers and stuff really good. He took time with me, and now it's like this person is like, you know, just like, nah, you soiled. You know, it was like, you no good, you garbage.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
Yeah, that's the feeling it gave me, the impression.
So how did that, you know, so he left that impression on you, but the man that you knew to be your actual father, were there anything, like, growing up with him, was there anything that offset your feelings? Because okay, I was raised by a great man, even though my real fathers rejected me, I was raised by, and a great man was around. Did that offset your feelings? Or
it's crazy because in the beginning when I was little, yes, like that's what I said, he was my king. This is the man that came home, that would take me to Dunkin' Donuts, that introduced me to blondes. I didn't even know about brownies. I knew about blondes.
Right.
You know, so, and he would buy me a blonde and I would eat that. For those that don't know, a blonde is still a brownie. It's just a vanilla brownie. But he would introduce me to blondes and, you know, the bow ties from Dunkin' Donuts. I was a sweetie pie. He would come home and he would take his hat and he would put his hat on me. And we had a huge house. So we had like a trampoline in the living room, and we would jump up and down in this trampoline. We got pictures actually in the house where we would just jump on the trampoline and have fun. And every day I would sit on his lap and I would read to him. We would read the newspaper together. And he put in like a serious amount of time.
Okay.
Like, he was a good father, you know, really, really good father to me. and education was like extremely important to him for us. So he did his part, but and like even with I was glad that I had a relationship where I could speak honestly and openly with him and let him know what I was feeling as a result of the rejection from my biological father.
Right.
And I was like letting him know, like, you don't do me like that. Why would he do me like that? And it made me wish for him to really be my father more. Like, I really didn't want the other one to be my father at all
Wow.
after he just kind of rejected me. It kind of really made me like I don't want to say depressed, but I was sad, but I don't stay sad long. So it was like a thing of where I let it hurt for as much as it needed to hurt. Like, dang, like, ugh, like, I'm sorry, he my dad. He don't even want me, and I don't want him. I just want,
So
my dad.
so that brings me to another quick question. So you felt that way. You said you wanted other guy to be your father that much more. You said you didn't have one to do with the your biological father because that rejection was cutting, right?
I thought so.
Right.
You think that because you're in your feelings. You know how they say I'm in my bag. Like,
Right.
you think so because you're in your feelings, but psychologically, you still long for the acceptance of that
Right.
person.
Right.
You wonder why. So in the back of my mind, it still played.
So how did your mom respond to all this once you found out the truth? What was your mom and your mother's reaction?
Deny, deny, deny.
Really?
Fifth, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth.
But feel
1, 2, 3,
so
4,
she denied
fifth.
everything that's not your dad. This is your father. She
So
would
I don't know what
deny
you're
it.
talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
So at that point, did you feel rejected by both of your biological parents?
Mm-hmm.
So not only your
Yeah.
father rejecting you, the man you knew as your godfather, and you had great moments with him. Like you said, he took you to the dealership, he did this and spoiled you. But he was actually your father. Then meet him up with him again. He's a totally different guy, and your mother's denying everything. So now it's like you really dealing with some rejection issues and abandonment issues because your
Yeah.
mother denying it, and you're like, what's going on here?
Right.
And so now, like
Right.
you're being a young girl that was brought up in the church and always attended church. Like, did you ever question like God at this point? What do you mean questionable moments?
Like, for me, like, I've been through so much,
Mm-hmm.
so much that for me, I felt like that at that time was like Mickey Mouse stuff in comparison to what I had been through. And I'm very compartmentalized in that I just was like, don't even worry about it. Like, we don't even have to worry about it. If you don't want to acknowledge it, we don't have to acknowledge it. I'm still going to be great. So, now I had like this burning desire to be great. Like, I'll show them all, like,
Right, right.
it's like, I'm going to make them want me. I'm going to make them want to come to me because I'm going to be so great that they going to have to want to claim me,
So did
so
that?
that
Do you feel
started.
that harbor some? Was it bitter energy or bitter feelings that you try to turn into a positive, or you was fuming? You like were you running off of that? You know what? Forget them. Like did it harden your heart a little bit to drive you to be
No,
great?
I felt like I felt like I was trying to turn a negative into a positive. Like, yo, there's no reason. Like, I always self-evaluate. Like, and I do a process of elimination. Like, well, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. Yeah, I had a baby out of wedlock. Yeah, but this and that. But I eventually got married. Like, so
Right,
I'm like, I'm thinking, I'm doing all the process of elimination. I'm like, man, who wouldn't like me? Like, all right,
right,
cool. Well, forget it. If they don't like me, God likes me. I like me because he likes me. Like
right.
the song said. And so I just kind of, ran with that. Like, I like me. That's the important thing. I like me, and I got smart, like really smarter, I should say. Like, me and my dad had more talks, and he was like, look, stick with your village. You got me, I got you. I'm never gonna abandon you. I'm always gonna be here for you. Like, yo, I got you. Like, don't worry about them, and what they're doing. Like, just do what you do. I'm so proud of you. Like, no matter what, even with having a baby out of wedlock, and I'm so proud of you. I was in my junior year in high school when I had my son. This was long before graduation. And my dad, they had Sage back then. If you had a baby out of wedlock, you single mother, you had to go to Sage and drop out of high school.
Mm.
And Sage was like a GED program. I was like, I don't want to do that. I'm an honor student. Like, this is stupid. So my dad, he made sure that I was able to stay in school. Like, he was like, you work in your job, you're at the Gap. And I had the little Gap job. He said, whatever you make at the Gap, I'm gonna match it. Plus I had a little side hustle where I was working at Skaters World. Shout out to Skaters World. Remember Skaters World? So, I was a skate guard there and everything. I made $30.30. That's when we was making 505.
Wow,
But
you brought it back.
yeah, but my
Wow,
dad,
505 minimum wage. Now look,
word.
she telling the age now, y'all. She telling the age now.
Yeah, but my dad, he came up with a plan. He said, whatever you make, I'm gonna match it. I'm gonna match it. That way you can pay for daycare, you can stay in school, you can do what you need to do. Don't worry about it. You're a good girl. You know what I'm saying? Everybody make mistakes. You're a good girl. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And my dad, he rocked with me. Like he's still rock. He's my number one fan. Everything you see on my page being shared, he's sharing it.
Wow,
Like, so
that's amazing. So in this
yeah.
case, you really had a great support system. Dealing, the man, your father, he was a strong man, is a strong man, and he really held you down through
Mhm.
some of the most trying times that you're going through. Um, and it's kind of twist on it because you hear about people going through things like that, like being raised up in a single family home, but you had a father figure there, the one that you knew as your dad. Um, so
For a while,
so
because
for a
they
while,
they eventually divorced. Hmm.
and they divorced. How old were you when they divorced? That was
I was
17. That was
17.
17,
Yeah,
right?
that's why he told me everything.
Right. So it was 17 when he divorced. So now, not only the rejection and abandonment come in, so now we really got some, like where everybody say daddy issues for real.
Hmm.
Even though you had a father figure, now you got daddy issues because now the home is broken up.
Hmm.
And you had to cope with that. So I guess you kept on writing like you've been doing. Now, some of the things were
Yep.
you writing to your mom, what were the things dealing with what you were going through and how you were feeling about the whole information? Because you said you had wrote all to you was like 26.
I was writing. I think I got on my mother nerves because I always been a chatterbox. Like I always been a people person. I'm the most introverted extrovert though you will ever meet.
Wow.
Still shy. Nobody believes it because I'm so vocal, even though I'm shy. Like it's weird. But I guess she figured I was gonna be a chatterbox. So like, listen, go on over there. Like I don't think she meant any malice by it. It was just like. If I gotta talk to Chanel, I need to wait a whole hour to talk to her. Let me just start teaching her to write it down so that I don't fall asleep in front of her trying to talk to me. So I don't think it was malintended. I think it was just a thing of like, let me give her an outlet. Let me let her write it down because she gonna write a whole lot, and I could get some stuff done while she writing. I'll be over there like, I'll be burning the midnight oil. So but thinking she gonna read it. And I felt like the more I wrote, she was gonna read it, but she never did.
Never did.
So
And in turn, it wind up, you wind up bringing the gift out in you, another skill set in you,
right,
writing, and
right.
that's why you're author now. So you said a lot of things you're talking about, conversation with Chanel Fields is in that book you were just showing.
Hmm.
Talk about what's the name, the title of the book?
The first book was called "If You Could Give It Up, You Can Have It All."
If you could give up, you can have it all. I do have that. That was the first book. And so talk about what was in that book. Talk about the.
So basically, the book kind of goes into a little about what we just talked about. And it in some, it's basically saying like a lot of the reason of why many of us can't get to that place of purpose in our life, with walking in our purpose in life, is because we haven't let go of the things that have beset us, like the things that have hurt us, whether it's like rejection, whether it's like acceptance, whether it's abandonment, whether it's alcoholism. It can be anything. It's always something, but it can be anything. Your it may not be my it.
Right.
My it was, the abandonment. My it was the rejection. My it was, just finding out like who I was and just letting go. My it was being raped, violently, at 11 years old, and trying to get past that trauma. I could not foster healthy relationships with people. I could not foster a healthy relationship and marriage because of the turmoil that caused within me. I couldn't talk about it until like the age of 26. Like I couldn't vocalize it. I tried when my mom found out about it. I was 16, and at that particular time, I was pregnant.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I was getting ready to have a baby. And so she, you know, she called me all types of whores and harlots and Jezebels. I was every church name in the book, you know. So,
Wow.
but I had to let her know, like, you know, I was raped. You know, I was raped by your nephew.
Mm.
You know, while grandma watched, like, you know, I was raped. You know, and
You was raped by her nephew. Why? You said why? You said why grandma watched.
mhm,
And this was
mhm,
at 11 years old.
11 years old.
So even before the whole daddy thing came out at 17, you still
Mhm,
were dealing with being raped at 11.
mhm.
So now you, wow. So now, and this is, and you know, oftentimes not, you know, we hear about things like this usually by, you know, somebody close to the family or a family member. So now,
Mhm.
so this is something else you were dealing with. How did you deal with that? Like, did you keep it a
I
secret?
I didn't. I didn't deal with it. You know, not at that time. I didn't know. I didn't know how to deal with it because it was like first the rape happened. But then like my aunt, she came in, she came to the house very quickly. She was extremely you know, she tried to be slick, very cunning, and she said, "Oh, you got your period," you know, because I didn't know what semen was at the time. It was still like that, like dreaming out of me along with blood, not to be so graphic,
Right.
but she tried to say that the blood was actually my period. But what happened was I had actually tore, you know, from the VJ all the way to the anus, you know, and I had to get stitches and staples, you know, to be repaired.
Wow.
Hmm.
So the family,
Yeah.
they were, it was an adult.
No, this is not an adult. This is a teenager, like, you know.
Oh,
This
okay.
is it. Yeah. But well, he wasn't a teen then. He's actually around my age. Like we're not that far apart in age.
Wow.
So but he did that, and you know, my grandmother was just like blasé about it. You know, she was like, he just playing with you, you know, y'all gonna make a pretty baby, you know, that kind of foolishness. And you know, I didn't even know babies came from there. Like it was so in my mind. The moment that happened, it was just so much going through my mind.
Right.
And my aunt came and made it a million times worse. Like she literally came home. She tried to tell me it was my period. She said, like, give me your clothes because it was your period. I was like, no, I want my mother. You know, I was adamant. I want my mother. Like,
Right.
this is wrong. Like that kind of pain. I want my mother. And so when she saw that she wasn't gonna get those clothes off me, she became very violent. You know, she choked me with the neck ring of a shirt. You know, she started punching me. She dragged me by my hair down the hall and cut all my hair off. Everything she could possibly do. She went and she told me she was gonna go get Dr. Green.
Right.
And I didn't know who Dr. Green was. I thought it was a person. I'm like, I don't know no Dr. Green. Dr. Green was switches, you know, and
Wow.
she wrapped up these switches, and I watched her in action. She went outside and she brought these branches back in, and she wet them, and like, you know, she poured like alcohol on the branches. I was like, what is she doing?
Well,
But I didn't
alcohol on the
know
branches.
that she was getting ready to go in on me, you know, and she started beating me with these switches, like until she started breaking skin loose, you know, like literally breaking skin loose on my body.
Wow.
Um, can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Because I can't hear you anymore.
You can't hear me at all.
Barely.
Okay, I can
Hold
hear
on. Someone
you.
called
Can everybody
and
hear
it,
us in here? Put a thumbs
let
up if
us
you
know,
hear us
guys, if you can
clearly.
hear us.
Because I did notice your sound did change a little bit.
Say something, Ryan.
Hello? Testing one,
Yeah,
two,
it's
three.
bare. I don't know what happened.
Let's do this. Let's do
Someone
this. I
tried to
don't want
call.
to mess up and lose this. Let's get off and come back on.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. Can y'all hear everything? Can you hear me? I'm gonna let her come back on. Hopefully that will correct the sounds because I did hear the sound change a little bit. So let me invite her back in. If that doesn't work, we'll go ahead and restart the whole system over. There you go. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching us and joining us. Here we go.
I did it again.
Hello?
Hey, I'm back.
Okay,
By
you
Mr. Brown voice.
Okay, you sound back. So, no, I don't know what happened. The sound did just switch.
Someone called in while we were doing the live, and I declined it, but it took the sound away. I'm like, did it just take the sound? And I could tell the difference. I was like, okay, the sound is gone. But yeah, I was telling you. So my aunt, she basically started to beat me with these switches, and I mean, she beat me until skin broke loose. My own parents had never gave me. I mean, it was like I would imagine slaves got whooped like that. Like she really bust the skin loose on my thigh, my legs. Like I had never seen. I didn't know my skin could pop open and bleed like that. Yeah, and then, she took it to another level. After she was done, like, busting skin loose, she took the liberty of pouring alcohol all over me, like all over everywhere where it was.
God.
Yeah, and I thought I was on fire. I thought she set me on fire, like real talk. So, when that hurt,
and you said this was at what age?
11.
At 11. So you, God have mercy. Yes, you was going through. You was going through it.
Yeah.
What was going through? I mean, I can only imagine what was going through your mind, but you could tell it better than anybody else.
I didn't know what to think because, I don't want to give away too much, but it will lead to the power of forgiveness. Basically, this was somebody I loved. I loved all three of those people. I still have love for those people. But like I really, really loved my aunt, the one that did that to me. Like, we were close. We would sing together. She had a beautiful voice. We would sing certain songs. She would teach me certain songs. They were like definitely Southern type songs. I would say borderline, like, songs that Sojourner Truth and them probably sang, but that I had never heard because I'm from up north, so. But she would teach me those songs, and then my grandmother was the bomb.com to me. She was a James Brown, Sam Cooke fanatic. So, and Al Green fanatic. There was nothing, that Sam Cooke, James Brown, Nat King Cole, I learned all about them through her, and Ray Charles. Like, she loved Ray Charles.
And Ray Charles.
My grandmother was the bomb to me as a kid. Right. She would I remember many days where she would put towels around my neck because we would sing James Brown, I Got That Feeling together. And like, so that was what was going through my mind while I was getting beat down like this. Those songs, those coconut cream pies that me and my aunt would make together was going through my mind. My cousin, how we would go and catch frogs together and pull the tongue all the way out the mouth without catching warts on our fingers. All the good stuff was going through my mind, and I couldn't fathom, like, these people that were so nice to me, why are they being so mean to me? Like, why would, like, is this a part of, like, family? Because this was my first experience being down south. I had never been to the south before. They felt like we were like bougie and rich and from up north and spoiled. So we were just completely mistreated and completely misconstrued. We were no different than them. We just lived up north, you know what I'm saying? And so to be mistreated now and violated in such a way, like, I would never never want that for anybody, not even my worst enemy, not my children, not anybody, like, to just experience such a violation. Such a violation. I think you could get so violated that you can just suppress it because you would have to, because your body can't handle any more trauma.
Okay.
And for me, I wanted my mother to know, like, what happened. But my mom wasn't able to know because my aunt had a lock on her phone. And when we were able to, my mom actually called us. I was like, Ma, I got to tell you something. And she always said, if you said it was an emergency, that she would listen. And this particular time, I'm like, it's emergency, it's emergency. And she was like, did you get permission to call me? Hang up. If you didn't get permission from your aunt to call me, hang up and get permission. Like, I'm like, well, I got to tell you something. It's an emergency. And she was like, hang up. My nickname, don't ask. My nickname was Satan. She'd be like, hang up, Satan. And call, yes. She'd be like, hang up, Satan. And then, get permission. So I knew if I had to get permission from my aunt, I was never going to get to tell my mother what happened. So I was so angry with my mom. I just was like, she don't even need to know what happened. Forget it. Forget about it. Just forget it. You know, and I just left it at that. Part of me was getting accustomed to that because I was the middle child, and you know, the middle child is always ignored. You know, they focus on the baby, the front and the back. You know, the middle is like I call it your multi-purpose child, because you know, we just get used. We to bring me the remote child. Bring me the remote, go get the orange juice, go get the newspaper, take the garbage out. I need help with this, rub my feet. You know, you just felt like you just a servant at all times, you know, and your only purpose was to serve other people. Like, go do this for your brother. What you standing there for? Go do that for you. It was never like, hey, how you doing? You all right? You know, how was your day? You know, it was never anything like that other than from my dad.
So you know, growing up, you know, experiencing the trauma you experienced at the age you have 11, 17, like now you have a kid out of wedlock at 17. And when you have made just a key point, you said you learn to oppress these feelings, because your mind just can't take that kind of trauma on a daily basis if you don't do something with those feelings. So,
right.
How did it affect future relationships? How did having a daddy issue now, having trust issue, getting violated by family members, how did it affect you as a woman going into relationships afterward?
You start attracting the wrong type of people. You know what I'm saying? You don't go in with those intentions, but wherever the voids are in you, you start attracting those type of voids. So it was like I would get into a relationship, and the person would be like unfaithful, and even though I knew that they were unfaithful, it was like I just didn't want them to leave me. Like, don't say you're gonna leave me, because I can't take nobody else leaving me, you know. And then they would leave, and you know, it was like that. And then I would get into another relationship, another broken kind of relationship, and that person would show just a little tiny bit more, and I mean, you probably can't find it, but just a little tiny bit more attention than the other person did.
Right.
And I would take that, I would take that and believe that that was love. That just that little bit more anchor. I'm like, oh, he loved me because he better than the other person was to me. He spent a little bit more time. Look, he gave me Tuesdays. The other person only gave me Monday. He gave me Monday and Tuesday. He loved me.
So essentially, you had voids that you were filling up unbeknowingly. You were filling up.
Right.
You were searching those things, and whatever little bit crumbs they give you, you took that and probably magnified.
I thought that was a whole meal. I thought that's what you're supposed to have, like, you know. And so, that vicious cycle went on for a while. Even in marriage, it was like I didn't know how to foster good relationships. I didn't even want to be sexual with my husband unless it was to procreate and make a baby. So that led to a lot of infidelity and things like that of the sort on his behalf, and it just, you know, the relationship fizzled out, and nothing like no jabs at him or anything like that. But you don't go into marriage to be sexless. You know what I'm saying? You started out getting you some nookie and cookie. You want to keep, you know, getting that. And now this person is deciding to deal with it. Like, it was starting to come to a head, like, at that, because what happened was at 26, it was like a thing of where with that rejection with my father, that was enough. And I didn't realize like enough was that's what happened as a result of not meeting with him. It was like enough is enough with this thing. But at that point, I was like, I need to go to counseling, because it was just too much for me to handle. It was really, really like way too much for me to handle. So I went to get counseling for 3 years.
So you would say you went for 3 years after what portion of that of your life?
It was from 26 on.
26 on. Now, let's keep that. We're going to touch base on that. We're going to shut down and come back because Instagram is about to shut us off in like 57 seconds. So we're going to come back with part 2. So everybody, if you're watching, come back. We're going to load back up again. Give me about 2 or 3 minutes in between this, okay?
Okay.
All right. We'll be right back.
All right.